Hi, my name is Billy Flowers, and welcome to my channel where I talk about velocity banking and how we can use this strategy to massively pay off debt. Now, this is my first video of 2025, so I want to say Happy New Year to all of you, and I hope you had a safe and wonderful holiday spending time with your family and friends. And I have a feeling that 2025 is going to be a good year. And what we're going to do, we're going to be using velocity banking to get rid of some of this debt so we can become debt free, so we can get closer to becoming financially free. 2025 is going to be a good year, so join me and let's do this journey together. So let's get started on today's scenario. So as usual, we have our four key numbers. We have an income of $3,500. We have our expenses at $3,100. We have our debt at $10,000, and our cash flow is at $400. Now we do have two credit cards here, one for $4,000 with a $160 a month payment, and credit card number two is at $6,000 and it has a $240 monthly payment. Both of these cards have a 25% interest rate. Now we do have rent at $1,000. We have a car payment at $400 a month. We have insurance at $100 a month, and the rest of the bills that we can pay with our credit card is $1,200. Now, we don't have a debt tool, we don't have a line of credit, so we're just going to be using one of these credit cards to start off with, and that's going to become our debt tool. So, as you know, when we do our credit cards, we have to separate what we're going to keep in cash and what we're going to actually put on the card to pay it down. So with this scenario here, just to start off with everything that we have to keep in cash, it would be $1,900. And what we would put on the card would be $1,600. Now, if you add both of these together, what are you going to get? You're going to get $3,500, right? Since we're going to be dumping $1,600 into this credit card, right? What is that going to get rid of? What about this monthly payment? Our monthly payment is $160. So if we're dumping $1,600 into this credit card, this $4,000 credit card, this monthly payment is gone. It turns into what? What's going to happen? We're going to get that cash flow, right? So this $160 is going to turn into cash flow. So $1,600 plus our monthly payment of that credit card, $160. So now $1,760 is going to go onto the card, and what we have to keep in cash is going to be $160 less. So we're going to have $1,740 that we have to keep in cash to pay the bills that need to be in cash. So we're going to be paying our rent, our car, our insurance, and the second credit card. So I'm going to go over here and write our cash flow is going to go up $160, right? Correct? Like I said. So now our cash flow is going to go up to $560. That quick. Day one. $560. That's what we're going to be working with. So let's get started. So in month one, we have our credit card here, $4,000. Then we're going to put, you remember our new income that we're going to be putting into the card of $1,760 is going to go into the card, lowering the balance down to $2,240. And then we're going to have our expenses. Remember the rest of the bills that we can pay with our credit card. Our expenses are going to come out the card. And it's going to raise the balance up to $3,440. And then we're going to get charged interest, of course. And that interest, I like to take it off the high balance at the start of the month, but it's going to be lower than that, but I'm taking it off the high balance. It's going to be $83.33, and it's going to raise the balance up to $3,523.33 at the end of month one. Now remember, this expense number right here is all the other expenses besides the ones I have listed here that you're going to be spending throughout the month. So that's going to be, the food that you go out to eat, your electric, your gas, everything else. That's what this number represents right here, this $1,200. And the part that we have to keep in cash is going to be this $1,740. That's going to stay in your bank account, and those bills is probably going to be automatic. So you're going to pay your rent from here, you're going to pay your car payment, you're going to pay your insurance, and you're going to pay your second credit card bill. That's what this $1,740 is. So remember that. So in month two, we're going to repeat the same process. We're going to have the $1,760 go into the card. It's going to lower the balance down to $1,763.33. Then we're going to have our expenses come out of $1,200, and it's going to raise the balance up to $2,963.33. Interest we're getting charged now is going to be off of this balance that I took at the beginning of the month, $73.40, raising the balance up to $3,036.73 at the end of month two. Now remember, when we're putting money into the card, our income, we're using this dollar more than once. So we're putting money in, and then we're taking the same money back out to pay our expenses. So what this is going to do, not only is this satisfying our payment when we're putting this income in, then we're taking the same money back out, our expenses, and then our cash flow is staying in. That's what's paying down the credit card. That's how this works. So this $1 is used multiple times. It's used to satisfy the payment. It's used to pay down the card. And then we're taking the same money out to pay our expenses. That's how this works. So in month three, we're going to repeat the same process. We're going to have our income going in of $1,760. And then we're going to have our expenses coming out of $1,200. Then we have our interest of $63.27. Balance is going to be $2,540. Oh, that's it. $2,540. No cents. Even. Then that's going to be the balance at the end of month three. Month four, we're going to have our income going in, our expenses coming out, interest, $52.92, raising the balance up to $2,032.92 at the end of month four. Month five, repeat the same process. Income in, expenses out, interest charge. $1,515.27 is the balance at the end of month five. And now you know what time it is if you've been watching for a while. Since this balance right here is lower than what the amount that we've been putting in our income, I like to flip the numbers just to make things easier to see on the board. And when you're going to actually see this line go down to zero, and we're not having to do more math because it's just prone to you making more mistakes. So just on the board, I'm going to have the expenses come out first now, and I'm going to put in the income second. That's all I'm changing. You're still going to be doing the exact same thing you've been doing this whole time, but just on the board, I'm doing it this way just so you can see it better. So we're going to have our expenses of $1,200 come out first, and it's going to raise the balance up to $2,715.27. Then we're going to have our income going into the card of $1,760, lowering that balance all the way down below $1,000 to $955.27. We're getting charged $31.57 in interest off of this beginning balance. raising the balance up to $986.84 at the end of month 6. Month 7, we have our expenses coming out first, our income going in. Now the interest charged is $20.56. The balance, $447.40 at the end of month 7. Month 8, expenses come out, raising the balance up to $1,647.40. And we've been putting in what's that number? Oh, $1,760 this whole time. So obviously this is less than that. So we're gonna put in this exact amount, zero this credit card out, end of month 8, done. This credit card of $4,000 is free and clear in 8 months. So since we cleared this credit card out, what we're gonna do? We're gonna move to the next one. So we're gonna start on credit card number 2. And what is that gonna do? Well, we got rid of this one, right? 160 gone. We're gonna move on to credit card number 2. And remember, when we start dumping all that money into the card, what's gonna happen? This monthly payment's gonna be gone. This monthly payment is gonna turn into cash flow. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna add another $240. And what you gonna get? What you gonna get? You're gonna get 0. You got 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry that 1. You got $800. I want to check my notes, make sure my math is right, but $800. That's gonna be your new cash flow we're working with. So now, since we don't have to, this is not a bill anymore. This is not a bill anymore. This $240 is not a bill. We don't have to keep that in cash anymore, right? So now our cash that we had to keep was $1,740. Now we're going to minus our old credit card bill of $240. And now we only have to keep $1,500 in cash. And it makes sense, right? This is just math. I'm not fudging any numbers. We have rent at $1,000. We have a car at $400. So that's $1,400. And then we have our car insurance at $100. $1,500, right? Boom. And of course, now what we're going to put on our credit card is going to go up. The credit card monthly payment of $240. So now we're going to be putting $2,000 on the credit card. So let's move on to credit card number 2. So our balance is going to be $6,000. Keep in mind that remember that we're paying $240 every single month when we're paying off the first credit card for 8 months. But I'm not even going to factor in that. We're not even going to worry about that. We're gonna start on this $6,000. So just to leave room for you might go out and party a little bit, have a little fun. But I'm just gonna factor in it being at $6,000 when we start. We know it's gonna be lower than that, but let's not worry about that. $6,000 to start with. Now our $2,000 of income is going into the card, lowering the balance down to $4,000. And then we're going to have our expenses of $12,000 coming out of the card, raising the balance up to $5,200. And I took the interest off of this $6,000. It's going to be $125 of interest. And it's going to raise the balance up to $5,325 at the end of month 1. Now notice, we went up in our cash flow of $240, but we have this interest charge right here. So basically, we gained $240, and now that interest, that $240 that we gained, this interest is just going to get subtracted from that. So you're going to feel it, but you're really not going to be feeling it because you just gained. You're used to paying $240 for this monthly payment. And now it's down to, let's just say it's down to whatever the interest cost is. And it's going to be lower than this. Remember, this is the highest, but we're just going to say $125. So we don't exactly have $800 of net cash flow to work with right now. We have $800 minus the interest cost of $125. That's how this works. And then every single month, as we get closer to paying this off, this interest cost is going to go down. And the closer we're going to get to that net $800. That's how this works. Is this math? So on month 2, we're going to have our income of $2,000 go in. Balance is going to be $3,325. We have our expenses coming out, raising the balance up to $4,525. Now the interest charge is going to be $110.94. Again, off of this high beginning balance. Balance $4,634.94 at the end of month 2. Month 3, income in, expenses out, interest charge. $3,932.52 is the balance at the end of month 3. Month 4, repeat. Income in, expenses out, interest charge. Now we're under $100. $81.93 is the interest. $3,214.45 is the balance at the end of month 4. Month 5, income in, expenses out, interest charge. $2,481.42 is the balance at the end of month 5. Month 6, income in, expenses out, raising the balance up to $1,681.42. Interest is getting charged now. We at $50, $51.70, $1,733.12 is the balance at the end of month 6. So if we minus this interest charge from our cash flow, we're around 700. I'll just say 750. It'd be official. It's like 749, but let's say 750 now. Month 7. We're gonna, since this balance right now is lower than what we've been putting in, so it's flip time. So we're gonna flip. We're gonna have the expenses come out first. So $1,200 in expenses, raising the balance up to $2,933.12. Then we're gonna have that income going in at $2,000, knocking that balance all the way back down to $933.12. Then we're going to get charged at $36.11 in interest. $969.23 is the balance at the end of month 7. Month 8, we have our expenses coming out, raising that balance up to $2,169.23. Then we're going to have that income going in of $2,000. Now that balance is down under $200, $169.23, $20.19 in interest, balance of $189.42 at the end of month 8. Then in month 9, we're going to have those expenses come out. You see that balance right there? $1,389.42. You know that's not $2,000. So we're gonna put that same amount in, zero this out, 9 months, $6,000 gone. The second credit card is done. So this one took 9 months, and the first one took 8 months. So we can do the math there. How many months is that? We've done 17 months. We're gonna be done in 17 months, or we could be done in 17 months or less. But let's just say 17 months. We done. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. 17 months. We paid off $10,000, starting off with $400 of cash flow. Who would have thought? See, most people when they have credit cards like this, they feel like they're stuck because they're just paying the minimum monthly payment, and the balance on them credit cards is barely moving because at the same time they're tacking on all that interest, and that balance is barely going down. So you feel like you're barely moving the needle on this credit card. But once you start doing velocity banking and start separating when you're using a credit card, separating what you need to use in cash and putting the rest on the card, attacking the card, this is how you pay these cards off. This is exactly how you pay them off. This is not this is addition and subtraction. That's all I'm doing. I'm not fudding the numbers. I'm just doing addition and subtraction, calculating the interest, and that's it. Until we get down to zero. That's it. That's all I'm doing. So, of course, it's school time. Time to go back to school. I added up all the interest that we got charged this whole time. $944.67. And you look at that, it's like, man, that's a lot of interest. I almost got charged $1,000 of interest in this 17 months. But remember, these cards are at a 25% interest rate. And you know what I always like to do? We're going to go on Google. You're going to go and ask Google what you actually paid percentage-wise in interest. So you're going to go on Google, type in $944.67 is what percent of what's our total debt? This 4K and 6K? It's $10,000. $944.67 is what percent of $10,000? Now, this is kind of simple math, but if you type that into Google, you're going to get, I'm going to round this up. Oops, let me make sure I'm doing this right. $9.45%. Now, when you look at that, now it doesn't seem as bad, right? Because if you're just paying the minimum monthly payment, you'll be paying this 25% interest rate. This is what kills most people. This is what gets most people right here, because you're paying the minimum payment, right? And you're getting charged 25% interest. So they're tacking that high interest every single month on the credit card because you're just paying the minimum. And you can see on them credit card statements when they tell you it's going to take you 30 years or 25.6 years to pay these cards off when you're just paying the minimum payment. 17 months, $10K gone. $400 of cash flow to start off with. Remember, when you're dumping all of your income in, what happens to that monthly payment? It becomes cash flow. That monthly payment is gone. It turns into cash flow, and now the only thing that you have to worry about is the interest on the card. And the interest, of course, is going to be lower every single month because of this strategy, because you're dumping all of your income into the card. Look, we paid less than 10% interest, but it said 25. Mm-hmm. See, if this was a loan, and you look at a loan, and a loan said 9.45%, you know that you ain't going to be paying no 9.45% on no amortized loan. It's going to be the opposite. You're going to be paying, at the beginning of the loan, you're going to be paying what the credit cards say. 25%, probably at a 9.45% interest rate, you're going to be paying More than that. You're probably going to be paying closer to 30% interest. Easy. I guarantee you. That's how it works. This is simple interest. Lines of credit are simple interest. They call it simple for a reason. Because when you do it this way, it's simple. Because you're just doing this addition and subtraction, and then you're calculating the interest. It's simple. When you see if you actually look at the formula for an amortized loan, it looks like some Greek lettering. It's just all kind of brackets and explanation. Not explanation, but exponents. It has letters, and yeah, it looks confusing. But the interest, calculating the interest, simple interest, it's just a simple formula. But this is how you pay off $10,000, starting off with $400 of cash flow in 17 months. We're talking about less than 2 years here, people. Paid off $10,000. This is what you need to start doing. This is how you get unstuck in 2025 from these credit cards. We're no longer going to give all our money away from the interest and give it all away to these banks and these credit card companies. We need to stop doing that. We need to take control of our finances. We need to start taking control of our money instead of our money controlling us. That's the whole point of this game. It's all a game. And we need to be on the right side of the game instead of being on the game that they taught us to do, because while we're playing their game, they're taking all our money that should be in our pocket. I want to have this interest, this difference of interest. I want to have this in my pocket. What about you? hmm So I just want to thank all of you for watching, and I want to thank all of you for your support thus far. This is this has been a dream of mine, and I really enjoy writing these numbers on the board and just teaching all of you how you can get out of debt, how you can get unstuck, because I know how this can be a burden to a lot of you, especially the person who handles the bills in your household, or if you're single, just if you're just handling these bills on your own. I just know that you're always worrying about, well, how am I gonna pay this credit card? How am I gonna pay this off? And I barely, I can barely get by paying a minimum monthly payment. But when you think about it like this, when you think about, whoa, I'm gonna change some things up, and I'm start dumping all of my money into this card, really attacking it, and that monthly payment instantly turns into cash flow. That's when you know that now you have a little bit of wiggle room to work with. Now you have that momentum going, and then every single month that momentum is going to be that snowball effect. That snowball is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until you pay the card off. That's how this works. All I want to do is help all of you get rid of these credit cards, and then once we pay it off, what are you going to do? You're not going to repeat the same process. All you're going to do now is you're going to run your bills. This 1,200 right here. You're going to run your $1,200 on the credit card and pay it off in full every single month and collect those rewards. Now those rewards are going to be working for you, and now you can use those rewards for to either offset what you're paying in expenses every month, or save them up for throughout the year. And I don't know, you might have enough to save some money when you go on a trips, save some money on some gas or whatever, just to help you on a trip or something. You never know. But yeah, use those rewards. And remember, I didn't factor in the rewards either. At 1%, $1,200 a month, you're getting $12 of rewards. At 1%. At 1.5%, you're getting $18. So you can minus either 12 or $18 from the interest costs every month to offset the interest even more, to make this interest this percent of interest that we're paying even less. So you're talking about you might be under 9%. Easy. And remember, I calculated the high interest off of this scenario too. So I know that was a long outro, but I just want to thank all of you again, and let's make this 2025 a special year. And once again, I want to thank all of you for watching. I want to thank all of you for your support, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And like I always say, get that cash flow.